bigger than music.
What's one negative, Jake? Just name. We'll keep going until we run out. What's one negative?
One negative is the distractions. Just the disconnect from just the society. The change of the communication from how it was to where we are now.
Yeah.
Where you can hop on a subway or train or something. Before I moved out here, I seen there's so many people that are just in their phone and nobody's talking.
Man,
Before it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking, making friends.
Yeah. For me, I would say comparison is a bad thing that can come with it, and it just depends on that person, because you can do it without even knowing a lot of times. Like, oh, I just dropped a track, or I just dropped a YouTube video, or I got 2 likes, 8 views, and then JoJo in the gang drops one, and they got 25 shares and 2,500 views, and they commented on his stuff. Why not mine? Is he better than me? No, JoJo and the gang, I'm better than them. And then it can lead to a lot of different other things, you know what I'm saying? But I think comparison is a big one.
Yeah.
What's one?
So we got distraction, we got comparison. I would say lust. Like if you're dealing with lust, or even if you don't deal with lust on a regular basis, if you hop on social media, you could be in a situation where you're dealing with lust, right? Because it's
for sure.
everywhere. And then once you watch one video, a second video will pop up.
Yep.
It's troublesome.
I'm gonna be vulnerable, as which I love to do. For years of my life, I would say addicted to pornography. You know what I'm saying? And if anyone's struggling with that, Christ brings freedom. If anyone is struggling with that, Christ brings healing. Christ can and will change that. Amen. Give it to him. You know what I'm saying? But it does damage. It does damage on the way you see women, on the way you see things, on the way, you know what I'm saying? It does damage what you think sex is supposed to be, how you think, just a lot of stuff like that. And that is one that I have to actively fight. I have to actively fight against, you know what I'm saying, the lust, because you can look at one video, like you said, and you won't even be looking for that video. You could just be scrolling, and all of a sudden there's someone doing the most. You're like, oh, what's going on? And then you're like, well, it's already playing. Let me just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you may start making excuses like, well, I mean,
it's not my fault. I didn't click on it. It's just playing, but that's one thing that's big for me, that being a recovering porn addict or lustful thinker, whatever, however you want to call it, that's something I have to actively fight against. I have to be like, oh no, I'm not looking here for too long. Benny, no. You know what I'm saying? We're not following them. If they're posting stuff like this, I will unfollow them, period. Because my relationship with God, my relationship with my wife is much important than following JoJo, and I don't even know who JoJo is, but JoJo and the gang. I don't know. It's just that's what's popping up today.
Don't go searching JoJo and the gang.
Yeah,
they're not real.
That's not real.
Don't go searching trying to figure out who he got beef with.
Shout out to JoJo and the gang, by the way.
Shout out. Somebody's going to start up a band this week.
Yeah, JoJo and the gang.
JoJo and the gang.
yeah, but that's real.
Yeah.
I got.
Go ahead.
And I got one more, which isn't a. Well, let me just say it first. Like we said, with social media, you're able to see, you're updated on news, and you're constantly getting fed that, which is not a bad thing, but it can be. Let's just say, like with some of the injustices that's going on.
Yeah.
You see that, which is not a bad thing. We should be aware of that. But at some points, when they keep feeding you that, and that gets you emotional, and not just emotional, but like you get overtaken, you get overcome with anger.
Yeah.
And you want to be vengeful, right? And you feel like you have to do something, right?
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. There's righteous anger, but then there's a anger that you can get overtaken with that controls you, that leads you down the wrong path, and you start having that vengeful type of spirit in your heart. So you got to be careful for that. I know that's one thing I had to do. Like I had to stop watching certain stuff because it gets you feeling a certain way. Like
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
But and that's the thing though that's wrong with social media and the whole. because there's so much more going on in the world that they can talk about, whether it's positive or negative, and they choose to cut out clips and change the way they edit the videos to make some things seem worse than they are. They cut out some things to make them seem not as bad as they should, so they're not even telling the full truth on social media a lot of times. You're getting parts and pieces, and then you make like he said, then you start getting angry over something, and sometimes you don't even know if it's a full truth. Sometimes they're exaggerating how bad something is. Sometimes it is true, but you never know.
Right.
And that's what they do. They create these false narratives. Now, I don't know how bad like some of the news things that they're doing, but like when you see clips, you're like, there ain't no way there's no way this man is stumbling over his speech this much. There's no way this is going on in the world.
Right.
Like not to this extent, but some of it might be true.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's all a deception, like he said, of Satan, is to get us off guard, to get us vengeful, to give us that spirit of hate, and to try to get us off guard and try to take vengeance on our own. God said it's him that's going to take revenge for us.
Yeah.
So, and that's what Satan wants. He wants us to get into those spirits.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that's another thing about the social media that's crazy, is that these guys say, you see one video and then you see 100 more. It's crazy because algorithm. But it's crazy because over the last 6 months, I've actively went. There's a 3 icon bar or whatever on the bottom, at least on IG, because that's where it happens the most, as far as what I notice. And it says, I don't want reels like this, or I don't want stories like this, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you could do that. So every time I see something like that, I do that, right? But they still pop up more than Christian content, and those are the people I'm adding and liking their videos. So why?
Right. Yeah, that's.
Well, I don't want to get into
I was about to say,
conspiracy theories, but I
that could
mean,
open
it's an
a whole
agenda.
a whole other side door.